We are now approaching the NBA All-Star break, which means we are officially a little bit past halfway through the NBA season, and right now is a perfect time to go through our NBA awards halfway through the season. We're going to go through every single award, including MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Defensive Player of the Year. To start off, I'm just going to start off with the biggest award, the most important award, and that's the MVP. I honestly think that as of right now, the MVP award is a one-man race, and the man that I have winning my MVP award halfway through the season is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I have last year's MVP and Shai going back-to-back. The Thunder have a record of 40-13 as of the recording of this video, and Shai is the most important reason why they have that record. Shai has been absolutely exceptional this season, averaging 31.8 points per game, 6.5 assists per game, and about 4.5 rebounds a game. And honestly, the most impressive thing about SGA this year is how crazy efficient he has been this year. He is super close to having 50-40-90 splits, shooting 55% from the field, 39% from 3, and 89% from the free throw line. He has picked up exactly where he left off after his first MVP last season, and I have him going back to back. The number one most annoying thing about hearing people talk about SGA is the free throw merchant allegations, and I have never heard a more stupid argument when it comes to basketball. I honestly think it's just people that only watch clips on Instagram or Twitter or highlights on TikTok where they find these cherry-picked clips of Shai flopping or trying to foul bait. And honestly, it does not factor into my MVP discussion whatsoever. And this is why the argument makes no sense at all in my opinion. Because this season, SGA is averaging 9.2 free throws per game. And I'm just going to list you some players that in their careers have had seasons where they've averaged more free throws per game than Shai is right now this season. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. And this season, Luka Doncic and Denny Avdija are both averaging more free throws per game than Shai right now, which is why this free throw merchant argument makes no sense in my head. And I honestly think it's just people trying to cope with the fact that OKC is the best team in the league right now, and Shai is the main reason why. And I also want to give some shout outs to some other players that I think will get MVP votes. Nikola Jokic was set to have a really good battle with SGA for this MVP award. Unfortunately, he hyperextended his knee a couple weeks ago and missed a little bit of time because of that. That kind of set him back in the race from SGA. An underrated person that I think deserves some discussion for MVP, obviously not number one. I think Shai is in a tier by himself. But Jaylen Brown should at least get some votes, some second and third place votes for Jaylen Brown, because without Jaylen Brown, this Celtics team would be a disaster without Jason Tatum right now. And Jaylen Brown has kept them afloat, and more than just afloat. Right now, they're tied for the second seed in the Eastern Conference, and JB has been phenomenal. And so I know that there's going to be people saying, Sterling, why is Victor Wembanyama not in MVP discussions? He's been the best defensive player in the league this year. He's very good offensively, obviously, and the Spurs are the second best team in the West right now. Sterling, why is Wemby not getting any discussion? And my response to that, I think, is because I think we've all kind of collectively agreed, or at least realized, that Wemby's probably not going to make the 65-game requirement that is necessary to be award eligible. He's already missed 13 games this year, which means throughout the rest of the season, he's only allowed to miss 4 more games maximum. And I honestly just think that he's not going to be award eligible come the end of the season. But this is the halfway through the season awards, so that segues perfectly into my next award, which is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. As of right now, since Wemby is still eligible, my DPOY is Victor Wembanyama. I honestly don't think I need to go into real detail about why I have Wemby as my DPOY. He is by far the best defensive player in basketball. It's not even close. Most players who drive to the basket frequently every game try and avoid the paint at absolutely all costs whenever they play against the Spurs because of Wemby. And a big example of this is the games that they've played against OKC this year. Because with Wemby in the paint, it makes it so much harder for Shai to penetrate and get into the paint. And what it does is it forces OKC's subpar perimeter shooters like Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Jay Will. It forces all of these guys that we don't really think of as knockdown three-point shooters. It makes them have to win the game instead of Shai by himself, which puts the Thunder in a really bad position. That's just one example, but Wemby kind of does that to every single team in the NBA, which is why I think as of right now, he's the DPOY. But since we were talking about he's not going to make the minimum game requirement, if he doesn't, then my second that I have that would probably win the DPOY this year is going to be Chet Holmgren. The Thunder are by far the best defense in the NBA, and I think Chet is the main reason for that. He is so versatile defensively because when he's playing the 4 and he's on the court with Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet is such a havoc causer on the defensive side of the ball. He can guard on the perimeter. Even if he misses a step on the perimeter and somebody gets downhill, he's long enough and lengthy enough to still get a chase down block and send the ball into the stands. And he can play the 5 and he can just be a straight up rim protector and just deter everybody from going to the basket. But another player that I do want to show some love to when it comes to DPOY is my boy, Ausar Thompson. If you guys are familiar with me and this channel, you know that whenever I get a chance to talk about the Thompson twins, I'm going to talk about the Thompson twins. They're 2 of my favorite players in the NBA right now. But Ausar Thompson is one of the best perimeter defenders in basketball. You maybe can make the argument that he is the best perimeter defender in basketball. Pistons are the second best defense in the NBA, and Ausar Thompson has been absolutely phenomenal defensively this year. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to get into is Coach of the Year. And my Coach of the Year is Boston Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla. I think that the narrative is perfect for Mazzulla to win Coach of the Year this year. The Celtics team and their core is totally different from last season to this season. Obviously, everybody talks about how they're missing their best player, Jason Tatum, but not a lot of people bring up the fact that a bunch of core players from last season are not on the team anymore. Guys like Drew Holiday was very important for this team. Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. Their center rotation is completely different this year. I honestly think that this speaks a lot to Joe Mazzulla and how good of a coach he is, because losing Porzingis, losing Al Horford, and having to replace them with guys like Nemas Keita, Luka Garza. Now, obviously, they just got Nikola Vucevic at the trade deadline, and he looked pretty good in his first game. But the fact that the Celtics have made it work, they're tied for the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference right now, and the fact that they're missing so many key contributors from last season, and they're still looking like they haven't lost a step without these guys, I think says a lot when it comes to Joe Mazzulla. So that's why he's my Coach of the Year. So the next one I'm going to go with is going to be the 6th man of the year. My 6th man of the year is Naz Reid. He has been very, very good off the bench for the Timberwolves this year. He's averaging 14.5 points per game off the bench, but the 3-point shooting this year from Naz Reid is insane. He's shooting 6 attempts per game and is shooting a crazy clip of 39% from 3, which is kind of one of the best big men in the NBA when it comes to shooting the 3. Naz Reid has been fantastic, and I'm so glad that they did not trade him at the deadline, because there was a little bit of rumblings that they might look to move on from Naz Reid to try and get a point guard. They ended up getting Ayo DeSumo and did not give up Naz Reid, which was, I think, a huge W for them. All right, so we have 2 awards left. We have the Most Improved Player and we have the Rookie of the Year. I'm going to save Rookie of the Year for last, so we're going to Most Improved Player next. This is actually a really good race for Most Improved Player this year. And my Most Improved Player is going to be Deni Avdija. He just officially made the All-Star game last week when they announced the reserves. And Deni has taken a crazy leap. He went from averaging 16 points last season to 25.5 this year, went from averaging 3.9 assists to 6.7 assists per game, and it's been awesome to watch Deni turn into the true point forward version of himself, because when Deni was drafted to the Wizards back in 2020, scouts were saying that at Deni's best, at his ceiling, he's going to be somewhat of a point forward. He's going to be a forward who's going to have the ball in his hands most of the time. He's going to be the one making the decisions and running the offense. And that's what we've seen this season. And it has been amazing to see Deni blossom into the full version of himself that we thought that he could be. The runner-up, and I honestly could see some people voting this guy as their winner, it's Jalen Johnson, another guy who's a first-time All-Star this year. Jalen Johnson has been so good that the Atlanta Hawks were comfortable moving on from Trae Young and starting to build this around Jalen Johnson now. And I also want to show some love to Keontae George on the Utah Jazz, because the jump that Keontae has taken this season is what made the Utah Jazz feel like next season they can compete, and they went out and made a win-now trade, getting Jaren Jackson Jr. So Keontae deserves some conversation too. All right, we finally made it to our last award of the video, and it honestly kind of has been the best race of all of the awards, and it's the Rookie of the Year award. I honestly took a very long time to figure out who I think my Rookie of the Year award is halfway through the NBA season. It's obviously between Cooper Flag and between Con Knipple. And honestly, this award has kind of changed in like the last 2 weeks. Because if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Con Knipple is the Rookie of the Year. But as of right now, on February 10th, 2026, I think the Rookie of the Year is Cooper Flag. And the main reason why I'm picking Cooper Flag over Con Knipple is because the success of the Dallas Mavericks, whether they win a game or lose a game, is determined only by how good Cooper Flag is on that night. Cooper Flag in these games that the Mavericks are winning, he has to perform, and he has to perform great. Because if he doesn't, the Mavericks right now just do not have the talent to compete if Cooper Flag isn't being the best version of himself. And literally 2 weeks ago, we kind of seen in real time Cooper Flag take a step in his rookie season. Because throughout this entire season, he's been averaging 20 points per game. But if you look at the last 8 games of this season only, the last 2 weeks or so, Cooper Flag is averaging 30 points per game in that time span as a rookie, which is just absolutely insane. And obviously, we all know how much of a Swiss Army knife Cooper Flag is. He's already very, very good defensively as a rookie. He's big and he has a lot of size, and he's quick enough to defend smaller guards as well. He's very, very versatile defensively. And I honestly am much higher right now on Cooper Flag than I was at the draft or even a couple months ago. I think that he's proved that he deserved to be that number 1 pick, and he deserved all of the hype that he got during the draft process. And Con Knipple, let's not forget, Con Knipple has been fantastic this season. He's been one of the most efficient shooters in basketball this season. He is also super, super close to shooting 50, 40, 90 splits, 48% from the field, 42% from 3, and 89.7% from the free throw line. And he is shooting 7 threes a game, shooting 42% from 3 this year. The Hornets have been looking great in their last 2 weeks or so. They were just on like a 7-game win streak. LaMelo Ball has been very good. Con Knipple has been great. Brandon Miller has taken a step this season and kind of shown some of the potential that we all thought that he had. And the Hornets are looking really, really, really good lately. And Con Knipple, kind of being this good in his rookie season, has set the Hornets to be more competitive on every night. So that is all my awards so far halfway through the season. Those are my awards. I want you guys to go down below in the comments. Let me know if you disagree or if you agree with my awards. Do you think Con Knipple should be the Rookie of the Year? Do you think that Victor Wembanyama should have more of an MVP discussion? Let me know what you think. Please go and subscribe to Yanker Hoops. I would appreciate it so much. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Thank you guys so much. I've been Sterling Yanker. I'm out of here.